solve equations with variables on both sides, we are going to start by distributing if necessary. Remember, distribute deals with parentheses, and it means to multiply. We always start with parentheses first, and then after multiplying, we can combine any like terms. Remember, combining like terms means we're going to add our positive and negative values together. So the first two steps are solving equations just as we have been so far. Now, steps 3 and 4 are our new process. We're going to collect the variables on the same side. And we're always going to go to the larger side. Okay, so whichever variable is larger, we're going to go over there. And step 4, we're going to collect the constants on the same side. And basically, that will be the opposite of the variables. Our final step is going to be to solve the equation, meaning we divide. Number 1, we don't have any parentheses, so there's no multiplication. We don't have any like terms, so there's no combining. We're going straight into step 3. We want to combine the 8x and the 4x. But notice the 8x is on the left and the 4x is on the right. We're going to take the small number, 4x, we're going to move it to the larger number, the 8x. Just like before, when we move something, we change it to the opposite. So 4x would become a negative 4x. And 8x and negative 4x gives us a positive 4x. Now, just as we moved our variables, we're going to take our whole numbers and we're going to move them the opposite direction. So our negative 7, we're going to move it to the other side, and it's going to become a positive 7. 21 and positive 7 gives us a value of 28. When you have only two numbers left, 4x and 28, our final step is to divide. We always divide in order. The 28 divided by the x value 4, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. X equals 7 is our final answer. In problem number 2, there are no parentheses, so there's no multiplication. There's no combining like terms. We're going straight into step 3 again. So here we have negative 11 plus negative 11x plus 9 equals negative 2x plus 45. So again, we're going to take our smaller value. The smaller value, I always go by the numerical value, not necessarily the negative value. So 2 is less than 11. The negative 2, when we move it, is going to change to a positive 2. Negative 11 and positive 2 gives us a value of negative 9x. Just as we moved the x values, we're also going to move the whole numbers. So our plus 9 is going to change to a negative 9 when we move it. 45 and negative 9 is going to give us a value of 36. Our final step, when we have only two numbers left, negative 9 and 36, is to divide. We always divide in order. 36 divided by the x value, negative 9, to get a final answer of negative 4. Number 3, again, there's no parentheses, so there's no multiplication. There's no combining like terms. We go straight into step 3. We take the smaller variable, 6, and we move it to be with the larger variable, 13. When we move 6, it's going to change to a negative 6. 13 and negative 6 gives us a value of 7, so 7x. Just as we move the variable, we're also going to move the whole number. So positive 9 will change to a negative 9 when we move it. Negative 12 and negative 9 give us a value of negative 21. Our final step, when we have only two numbers left, is to divide. We must divide in order. The negative 21 divided by the x value 7 to get a final answer of negative 3. We have 14x plus 1 equals negative 2 plus 8x plus 15. There's no parentheses, so there's no multiplication, but we do have like terms. On the right-hand side, we can combine the negative 2 and the positive 15. Our 8x would stay the same. Negative 2 and positive 15 give us a value of positive 13. The 14x and the plus 1 would stay the same on the left-hand side, as there are no like terms on that side of the equation. Step 3 has us going in and moving the variable, the small number, over to the large number. So 8 would change to a negative 8. 14 and negative 8 is going to give us a value of 6, and that goes with our letter x. We move our whole number away from the other value, so our plus 1 would change into a negative 1. Positive 13 and negative 1 gives us a value of 12. And our final step, when you have only two numbers left, 12 and 6, is to divide. We must divide in order. 12 divided by 6 gives us a value of 2. It says Jane is going to solve the equation shown below. 8x minus 19 equals negative 12x plus 61. Jane thinks the first step should be to subtract 12x from both sides of the equation, but Allie thinks she should add 12x to both sides of the equation. Who is correct, and how do you know? So there are no parentheses, so there's no multiplication. There's no like terms, so there's no combining. We go straight into combining our whole numbers. So they want to move the negative 12 over to the left-hand side. Negative 12 would change to a positive 12 when we move it. So in this case, Allie is going to be correct. Because a negative 12 changes to positive 12 when you move it. So as we solve the equation, our first step, just as we mentioned, is going to be to do a positive 12 on the other side. So 8x and 12x gives us a value of 20x. Just as we move the variables, we're going to move our whole numbers to the other side as well, changing our negative 19 to a positive 19. 61 and 19 give us a value of 80. And then our final step is to divide. We must divide in order, so the 80 divided by the 20x to get a final answer of 4.